What is it about car design that I am so passionate about? What is it that made me make two YouTube channels just discussing car design? I think to me, car design is cars in general are. I've said it before, is sculptures on wheels that brighten up our everyday life. Can you think about any other product, any other man-made product, except, I mean, nature in general is beautiful, but a man-made construction that you see every day in different variations that doesn't necessarily have a form that 100% needs to follow function. Instead, it's more about the art and the lines and the proportions, the beautiful surfaces of a product. What other object like that do we see outside every day or inside in our lives other than cars? I don't know if that makes sense, but imagine removing all cars. Imagine if all cars were just a square on wheels. How dull everything on the roads would be. And that is the reason why I love car design so much. And now we have Gordon Murray just absolutely dropping the mic at this Monterey Car Week. This McLaren F1 revival is, I mean, it is something else. It is one of the coolest vehicle designs I think I've ever seen. And to me, it's almost a perfect modernization. I don't really see anything that I would change on this, a modernization of the McLaren F1. It's an absolutely stunning masterpiece. So we're going to have a look at this. I'm going to compare it to his original McLaren F1 design. Can you imagine that? You designed the F1, I don't know how far back that was, 30 years ago maybe, or something like that. And then you start your own company. You take one of your key, most important designs in history, and you have the opportunity to give it another shot with new modern manufacturing methods, with new modern daytime run lights, LEDs, technology and everything like that. And this is what comes out. What a dream project this must have been for Gordon Murray himself. So we're going to have a look at this design. I'm going to let you know what I think about it in case you didn't get the hint already. So Gordon Murray nails modern McLaren F1 so hard that someone actually bought all 5 that they're going to build. That's cool for that person, but it's kind of sad because that means that probably all of the 5 versions of these, models of these, are going to be located in one specific location. So that means that less people are going to experience this in real life. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. I don't think they should have allowed one person to buy all 5. But this is, of course, Car Scoop article here. I'm going to link it down below. So 2 ultra-exclusive V12 supercars in Monterey, including one so rare every unit was sold to a single buyer. I think this is about $10 million or something like that, 8 figures. The S1 LM makes over 700 horsepower and is a direct reference and tribute to the McLaren F1. Now, 700 horsepower here. This is what I love about Gordon Murray's creations. 700 horsepower today. We had the new Lamborghini 1080 horsepower. We have the Koenigsegg 1000, I don't know, a million horsepower. Then we have Gordon Murray 700 horsepower. Now, the thing here, this is what we see with EVs now pushing 2,000 horsepower. So horsepower today doesn't matter anymore. It's not a number that really has any significance. Now it comes down to the entire package of the vehicle, the design, the steering, the handling, the interior qualities. Horsepower is just a small little priority now when it comes to cars like this. 700 horsepower is still a lot, but it's nothing crazy, and I love to see that. So the pair offers insight into a new branch of Gordon Murray's business. I'm not really sure what that means, what the branch is. So the man at the helm has already set some pretty tall benchmarks. You have the T50, T50S, T33 already sold out, well loved and full of clever engineering. When Murray announced that he will bring 2 new cars to Monterey Car Weeks, we initially thought that they might just be special versions of the cars we already seen in the past years. But this is a good example of under-promising and over-delivering. I mean, it doesn't get more over-delivered than this. I mean, look at this thing. I love the LM wheels. They do such a benefit to this design. Here you can see the V12 engine as well, with the roof scoop up top. The new taillights, very much inspired by the F1, of course. I mean, it's just a sick looking machine. Also the front end, and the interior is also, if you look at the interior, all the small details here is exactly the same layout that we had in the old McLaren F1. Love to see this car. In my opinion, I think this is probably the coolest car of this week. If I had to pick one, I mean, I love the McLaren F1. The styling looks timeless, and I've said it before. I made a redesign of the F1 maybe a year ago or 2 years, where I said like the design, the proportions of the McLaren F1 are still so timeless that if we just update the graphics, it's going to be looking like one of the most beautiful cars today in 2025, and that is exactly what we get here with this new Murray design. So the S1 LM is a direct reference and tribute to the McLaren F1. Murray's most famous design and his incredible 1995 win at Le Mans. In a way, the resulting car that we see here is a combination of F1 design, T50 design, and T50S parts. So he took a lot of what he had in the shed already and put it into this. So the V12 under the deck lid displaces 4.3 liters, 700 horsepower. The gearbox combines parts from the T50 and T50S. Suspension is lighter but stiffer than the one in the T50. What Murray says himself here is, I love timeless design. I never want us to join the race to make the most outrageous looking supercar at expense of balance, beauty, and proportions. Those are just like music to my ears, these statements. And look at the result. The car is timeless and beautiful, he says. I totally agree with that. The company is going to build just 5 examples of the S1 LM, and they're all going to the same customer. This is the other one here, the Le Mans GTR. Still a very, very cool looking design. It has a little bit of Senna inspired with the long tail right here and these features here. This is a very cool design. Doesn't really have anything to do with McLaren F1, but it's still, look at the flow here. How beautifully crafted this is. This is something that I feel like small manufacturers these days are doing a lot better than the already established brands. And I'm very happy to see that. This is a beautiful design as well. But if I were to pick one, I'm definitely going to go with the S1 LM for sure. So this is the long tail, homage to the F1 GTR long tail, inspired a little bit by the Porsche 917, the Alfa Romeo Tipo 33 as well. It loses the fan from the T50 and instead leverages the long tail design to reduce drag while increasing downforce. Now, the big fan on the T50 has gotten a lot of hate, or a lot of people don't like the big fan in the rear. But if you think about what it was inspired by, I think it was the Brabham F1 car of the, it could be 60s or maybe 70s. And that one had some of the best downforce in the business. So I think it's very, very cool that they, Gordon Murray and company here added that feature onto a production vehicle, because it's something new. It's something we haven't seen since the F1 era of 40, 50 years ago, now applied onto a production car. I think we should be careful to criticize stuff like that, because every time a new car comes out, everybody says, oh, it's a mix between the Revo Alto, the Sesto Elemento, everything into one is just a kit car. You know, underneath is just a Revo Alto, for example, the Fenomeno that we talked about earlier. And if they do something too crazy, people are going to go say that it's, what the heck is this? It's a fan in the back. What's going on here? So you can never please everybody. And I'm in the camp where I do want to see companies like this push the engineering a little bit further than we've seen before, and that is what I think exactly Gordon Murray did with the fan in the back. I think it's a very cool design. Might not look the most beautiful, but it's something new, something exciting. So only 24 examples of this long tail will be produced, and here you have the rear end of this S1 LM. Look at this line right here. Boom! And how planted the rear wheels are. Big, beautiful diffuser. Nothing crazy when it comes to styling. Everything being very fluid, very simple design, exactly like the old F1 was. So let's jump in Photoshop here, because check this out what I did for you guys. We put out a full collage here with the F1 up top. And this is, of course, because I want to show you just how good of a modernization this is. I mean, who could do it better than the designer of this original beauty himself, Gordon Murray, to create a modern version of this. You can see that these all the flow, the organic, you know, this is the era of melted cheese here in the US. All the cars back in this era were all melted cheese design. Meaning that everything, it wasn't a lot of sharp lines in the cars. It was much more fluid and soft curvatures everywhere, which still to this day, this McLaren F1 looks absolutely gorgeous. I've always loved how the headlights sits inside of and following the exact line and surface of this beautiful fender in the front. I've also been a fan of this intake in the middle right here. Big intakes on the sides, lower portion. And of course, we do have this side blade, which we're going to have a look at in a minute in side view, being one of the key features of the McLaren. Now look at the modernization here and just how everything just falls into place when you compare the two. Love the new headlight designs. I'm not sure if these are actually the headlights here or if it folds up in some way, because you can see that we do have a cut line right here, so you might have some sort of bigger headlight hiding here. But the intake in the side or the airflow here in the side, in the middle, is exactly the same as we have the old F1. We have the same implementation of the lower graphics as well, with these key intakes on the side, similar to what we had on the McLaren F1 here as well. And it looks like it is just that. It's a McLaren F1 coming back in 2025. I also absolutely love the positioning of the side mirrors and the design of the side mirrors themselves. Look at all the small details that we have going on here. How beautiful is that? And the positioning of it right on top, in the top portion of the A-pillar, looking extremely cool. Now look at the side view here. I think this is my favorite view for both of these vehicles, because the side view of the F1 has always been legendary. We have these flowing lines here, typical supercar design of the era, and we have the rear-mounted engine, of course, right behind the driver. But these are the lines that I love about the F1. This very cool intake here, and then you have this graphics right here in the middle as well, this wing cutting it, and that's pretty much it. Very simple, very elegant looking design. And the same goes for the new one. We still have this line that I talked about right here coming back. You still have even the cut line, the section line right here is exactly the same as we have in this S1 LM. The intake look very similar as well. We don't have the fin right here in the middle, but that's totally fine because the line flow still works. We have an additional air vent right here, something we didn't have on the F1 right there. But the overall proportions, I'm not sure, but it looks like the overall proportions and the dimensions of this is maybe exactly the same as the McLaren F1. I'm not sure, I could be wrong there, but just looking at it like this, it feels like it's the exact same length, wheelbase, everything. And one key detail I've always been a fan of from McLaren, some of the best looking wheels ever made are these wheels right here. These 5-spoke simple wheels that was on the long tail of the McLaren F1 back in the day, now coming back almost in the exact same design. Beautiful looking wheels. I would never ever switch these wheels out. They just look perfect for this vehicle. Now looking at the rear end, McLaren F1, of course, having these 4 taillights, round taillights. I'm not sure where they got these parts from. They definitely took it from some other brands. I can't really remember what brand that was. We have this almost elliptical framing for the taillights, and we have these interesting vents or graphics inside of the bumper. We don't have any sort of aggressive diffuser back in the day. Instead, it's just quad exhaust pipes in the lower section. No wings, no fins or anything crazy like that, like we have in modern supercars. Very simplistic styling, and they follow that tradition into this new S1 LM. I mean, look at these look retro and modern at the same time, with these ribs or these shutters that go across the taillights themselves. It feels like very retro, like old Atari style design, which I love to see. 4.3 liter V12 S1 LM right there, and you have the same key features right here, now 3 instead of 8 like we had in the old F1 right here, making it even cleaner than the old F1 in my opinion. And we need to add this diffuser because today we want to have a little bit more downforce than what we had back in the day. Quad exhaust pipes, of course. We do have these new fins for the new diffuser, but this is not something crazy. It's not like Lamborghini style diffusers where everything like it looks like a jet fighter in the back. This has a very elegant look to it, and we talked about this line right here as well in the article, how it carves in so you get the chance to appreciate just how fat these back wheels and tires are, and how they plant. I mean, look at the plantedness of these wheels. I mean, it just looks absolutely insane to me. Love the wing up top as well. Looking beautiful and looking like a classically designed wing. Everything about this design is just classic. There is nothing really crazy going on, but everything flows so beautifully in this design. And I don't know about you, but to me, the rear end just looks like an absolute smash hit when it comes to modernization of a McLaren F1. Now, last but not least, the interior. They didn't just focus on the details of the exterior to make this a cool-looking F1 tribute. They also did the same thing for the interior. So look at these pieces right here, for example. On the old F1, we have this piece. We have a nice housing, gauge cluster, manual transmission right there, and we have the exact same layout for the new S1L, and we have the same controls right here. And the gauge cluster look beautiful. Some vents up here, I do believe. Looks like to be some fans or fan vents or something like that. Big tachometer right in the middle. Speedometer to the left side and some more information right there on the right side of the steering wheel. Same seating position. We have the driver centered in the middle. And you have 2 passengers here on each side of the driver. I mean, to me, as I said in the beginning, if I had one favorite car from this year's Monterey Car Week, it's probably going to be the Gordon Murray S1 LM, because to me, this is just an absolute smash hit, and he definitely dropped the mic with this one.